Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to another episode of Car Mechanic Simulator 2018, The Grind. All right, so I just wanted to point out that we are officially on 1.1.9, and this is quite possibly the best update that we've had as far as performance goes, PC performance goes. Optimization of the game and whatnot. I think I may have mentioned that Car Mechanic Simulator 2018 really pushed my graphics card harder than anything else that I own, harder than any other game that I own, even including the relatively poorly optimized, prepared, even version 4. Of course, that's more CPU dependent than it is GPU dependent, but in any event, it is what it is. But anyway, this latest update, 1.1.9, is perhaps the best update so far. Now, I do not know what the car salon is, and I have not been to the car salon. But I do know that the car salon has been activated in 1.1.9. So let's go take a look together and see if we can figure out what this is, because I have no idea. I honestly have no idea. I have read some of the comments on the forums, on the Steam forums, and everybody seems to think that this is just a car dealership. So I don't know why they call it car salon. This game is very much geared towards the American market, or based on the American market. Some of the vehicles, I won't say all of the vehicles, but most of the vehicles are based on American type cars. Okay, and we don't call a car dealership, a car salon. Let me footnote that and say it's not called a car salon anywhere I've ever lived or grew up. So I grew up predominantly in Texas. We call them car dealerships. Here, even in Colorado, they are also called car dealerships. So not really sure. Let's see, leave garage or photo mode. Photo mode is still not working, so I still don't really know what is going on there. Looks like we've got some paint swatches. Looks like we can go upstairs, which, we can never go upstairs at a car dealership. And what is behind door number 1? Nothing behind door number 1. Okay, so I don't know. There's been I guess there's been a little bit of discussion, a little bit of discussion, talk. Let's see, what can we do? Can we do anything here? Ooh, okay, buy car. We can buy a car. Now, I don't know why you'd want to do this, because clearly, and I want to make sure that I don't accidentally hit buy car over there. I don't know why you'd want to do this. I do not know why you would want to buy a car in this game. 81,000. How much was this one? Almost $200,000. Man, that thing must scoot. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if just somebody wants to 103,000. Maybe just if somebody wants to experience, buying a brand new car after they've made so much money. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to our shop, because can we get to our shop by just walking out the front door? No, we can't. Now that would be nice if you could just sort of automatically teleport there by leaving the garage or leaving the dealership. Anyway, that's what the car salon is. I think that just basically translates into a car dealership. Your definition may vary, and perhaps they're called car salons in some other part of the world. But even some of the discussions on Steam, some of the folks were like saying, well, maybe it's an American thing. No, it's not an American thing as far as I know. Maybe it's called a car salon back east or whatever. So anyway, we've got a couple of cars here. Now, I will tell you that I have just been grinding away. Let's just take an update into the upper right-hand corner. Level 26, 20,620 XP points. I've got $342,000 in the bank. This is all grind. This is no cheat whatsoever. Okay. I am just, there's no need to go to the auctions. There's no need to do junkyard finds, barnyard finds. There's no need to do any of that because we don't have everything unlocked yet with regards to the ability to repair a car to 100%. We could go to the auction, we could go to the junkyard, we could buy things, but we wouldn't be able to do any body work until we basically get to and unlock this level here. Once we get here, then pretty much we can do painting, we can do body work, and then of course we've got a little bit more XP stuff that we can accumulate here and there, but it really doesn't make that much difference. And I've got 1 XP point that I can spend, and I will kind of go back and pick up some of these other things here. I've just been kind of moving forward, grabbing some of the time things, some of the percent of repair, getting that up to like 95%, etc. So that's what I've been doing. So anyway, let's take a look and see what's going on with this car. Now I've already done the body work on this because I am kind of slow at doing body work. So this is about poor brake performance. I'm going to kind of throw some tips at you. These are just things that I have learned through playing this game for many hours and getting up to level 26. And of course much of this also applied to Car Mechanic Simulator 15 as well. So when you have a whole host of brake problems like this, I always start under the hood. Under the hood, because the ABS module, the ABS module is almost always going to be the culprit, and if not that, then the ABS pump. So I basically go ahead and remove both of those from the car. So I will go ahead and lift the car up all the way so that I can then sort of stare almost eye level at the tires, and oops, back up just a little bit and lock onto the tire and bring myself up. So another point that I'm going to give you, and of course these are not anything related to real world situations, okay, so don't go applying my tips to your own personal car, your own personal shade tree mechanic job if you have one. These are just basically tips for the game, how to sort of do things within the game and do things at a relatively quick pace. So I've been ultimately for the last many levels, I've just been kind of grinding. Okay, I've been just kind of taking select jobs. I'm staying away from jobs that require me to do pretty much anything with the engines, just because it is quite time consuming, especially if it's something that you got to tear an entire engine apart to basically get to a small part. I am doing a lot of brake jobs, a lot of gearbox jobs, a lot of muffler jobs, basically is what we're doing here. So we have accumulated enough XP to be able to successfully repair some parts up to 95%. Now, before we do this, let me go over and show you the warehouse feature. So the warehouse feature is something that is new once you kind of work your way up into the ranks, and it's been a little bit buggy. But here's an example. We'll move this front bumper over. I had to pull it off that car, and it wouldn't take it at 88%, so we ended up having to buy it. So basically, if you want to move something over to your warehouse, you just basically right-click on it, and it will move it over. This is one of the bugs where the scroll issue won't stay down. I hope they fix that soon. But anyway, I wanted to show you that. So if at some point I do a restoration or something on this type of car, and maybe I can come over here to the warehouse and I can pull off this front bumper. These exhaust pipes, I had accidentally bought too many there, and so that's why we have those there. Okay, so let's get into our repair bench and try to repair some of this stuff. Again, our XP is at 95% success rate, so I think that's as high as we can. Get it on the repair side of things. All right, so we're going to put ourselves into part mount mode, and one of the cool features about this, and this is a Grizzly Bear Sim tip. Okay, when you're doing brakes, if it's just simply a brake job itself, like this car was, or at least this portion of the repair job has been about brakes, tear your brakes down all the way, even regardless of whether you think that maybe the brake disc is okay or not. Just go ahead and rip it off the car. It only takes a few extra seconds. Your time-consuming things on a brake job is going to be obviously removing the wheels. Your calipers obviously take a little bit of additional time, but removing the brake pads, removing the brake disc, etc., is just a few seconds to do that. The reason why you want to do that is because when you come in and you basically start putting parts back on the car, okay, this is the part that it's pre-selected. So this is sort of the best condition part that you have that you need to be able to put on here. So we've got several brake disc ventilateds that we've not yet sold from our junk pile, but we basically don't have a good brake disc ventilated part to put on this car. And also we'll just need to remind ourselves that our repair with minimal parts condition is 65%. So what I typically do is I keep a piece of scratch paper in front of me, and I write this number down on each job so I sort of know. So when we come back here again, we know we don't have anything that's better than 65%. We know that this car requires 2 brake disc ventilated, so we will go ahead, when we go to the store, we will go ahead and buy 2 of the brake disc ventilated parts here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and buy those, and then we will start reassembling the car. So we're going to look at brake pads. Now, one cool thing again is look ahead. Look down here and look ahead. So I have 2 brake pads that are at 78 and 79% respectively. Our minimum is 65%. So I don't need to buy any brake pads to be able to complete this job. Now, of course, that does set me off just a little bit, because again, why would you put used brake pads onto a brand new disc? But it's how the game is set up as far as the repair function goes, and we just live with it. Okay, so if you can't handle that, then I'm sorry, I don't know what to suggest. It does set me off just a little bit. It sets my maybe my OCD off just a little bit, but it is what it is. So now we'll go ahead and move over to this side of the car, and I typically do front and then I do rear. I don't mix, or I don't do a front and then a rear. I basically come around and I do it this way. It just basically works best for me. So we're good on the calipers there, and go ahead and put the tire on and get her all bolted down. Now you can do star patterns and all that kind of stuff if you want to for extra realism. All that is cool, and I do it sometimes if I'm sort of thinking about it, and sometimes if I'm just in a zone, then I just basically throw it on there however it goes. Okay, so we need 2 brake discs now. Of course, brake discs ventilated are going to be on the front of the car, and just regular brake discs are going to be on the rear of the car. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and start putting our brake pads on. So we do need 2 brake pads. If I had been following my own advice and sort of looking ahead, I would have known that I would have needed that, but you kind of see the example here. And by looking ahead and seeing what you have, now I need to purchase a brake caliper for the next wheel. So we'll make sure that we also have plenty of brake cylinders, and we do. I usually always have a few of those extra laying around. So we sort of know that once we get over to the other side of the car, we're going to have to go ahead and order a brake cylinder. Okay. Or I'm sorry, a caliper. Let me, there we go. Alright, so we've got our brake disc already, we've got our brake pads, that's going to work. We do know that we're going to need to go ahead and order the brake caliper, so we'll go ahead and purchase that. We don't need a brake cylinder because we have some, and we don't have, this was the last one, so we will have to buy more for another car, but in any event. Now, I think that there is still an inventory bug of some sort with regards to the game. And I think that there are parts that you swear up and down that you've purchased. Maybe you've purchased multiples of those parts, and whenever it comes time to using them, they basically are not available. So, like I said, that bug still exists, and we just have to deal with it, and hopefully everything is. Okay. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. So we need to put ourselves back in this mode. ABS pump we're throwing on there, and then the ABS module, we were able to repair those to 100%, which obviously will save our customer a little bit of money. and give us some cool feelings. All right, so 69.79 there. We'll finish the order. Rear license plate is missing from the car. Okay, so rear license plate is missing from the car. Okay, so from a repair perspective, I get why I get why you would want to make sure you put the license plate back on there. Maybe for some bumpers the license plate has to be removed. We did not replace that bumper, but we did basically strip it down. So let's see if we can get 100% here, and we do. Okay, but what I don't agree with is the fact that when you do a restoration, and I've not done a restoration as of yet, but when you do a restoration, if the car doesn't have a license plate on it, you basically have to buy a license plate. Now, I don't know how it works in other parts of the world, but I do know that here in the U.S., basically, dealerships don't provide license plates. So, I mean, if this were a restoration and it was going to be sold, yeah, the dealership would obviously put a temporary tag on the car, but I don't know. Maybe I'm sort of thinking that maybe that just shouldn't be in the game, that function. But it gives you the opportunity to customize the license plates, and we'll do that whenever we get around to doing some restorations. Okay, so loud when accelerating. Pretty much, I always again start under the hood. Because usually loud when accelerating is going to be, you're going to want to start around your exhaust manifolds and follow the exhaust out of the car. So if the exhaust manifold is rusty like it is in this case, then most likely that is going to be the culprit. So that is our one and only part that we really need to pull off the car inside the hood, and we most likely will need to pull off that next exhaust section there. And we will go ahead and get under the car, and yeah, it's pretty nasty there. So the front exhaust section is done, and the middle muffler most likely also needs to be replaced. So we'll take a look at that. Those were all three of those items. So we can put ourselves back into this mode. Front exhaust section AI3. Front exhaust section AI3. There we go. So it does take me, I will sometimes try to search for something. The problem with search is they don't really, I guess they're not really, the search engine isn't really like a real search engine, like a Google search engine as an example. If you basically don't put all the information in there, it may not pull up the parts. So we'll go ahead and drop the car down, and this might get us to the next level. This actually might put us at level 27 after we get this job done. That would be kind of cool. Moving on up, as I say, exhaust manifold I3. We're going to need one of those. Exhaust manifold I3 right there. So yeah, if you misspell something, it basically isn't going to work. So even if you misspell something on a Google search, it will generally still find what you're looking for, or at least it will give you the alternate search based on the correct spelling of whatever word it is that you're looking for. But Google hasn't got their hands on Car Mechanic Simulator 2018 just yet. Okay, so finish order, that job is done, and we're not yet over the threshold there. So let's take this car here and go ahead and move it over to our lifter A. I kind of like working with lifter A if we only have one job, because it's kind of the original lifter for what we had here. Always start by opening the hood of the car. Loud when accelerating, so very similar to the previous job that we just had. Let's take a look under the hood, and yeah, we've got some rust over here. Now pretty much rust is always going to be an indicator that the part is bad. That's kind of how Car Mechanic Simulator, that's how the developers have sort of indicated that the vehicle is bad, or the car is bad, or the part is bad, or whatever. You see rust on the exterior of a car, and you will even see rust on, say for example, some of the old school Corvettes. And well, you know that if you're familiar with your automobiles, you know that the Corvette, the old school Corvette, was fiberglass, and so the body panels would not rust. But in any event, in this game, rust can also mean, not only can it mean rust, rear muffler D, but it can also mean some form of damage. So just keep that in mind, rear muffler D. So we can, I think we can type rear muffler, and it will pull up all the rear mufflers, and there is rear muffler D for $72. And we'll slap rear muffler D on the car, and then we'll escape back out. You have to make sure that you back away from the edge of the lift. If we were try to trigger the lift from here, it's going to tell us that we need to move to a safe distance away. That's kind of cool. It's kind of realistic, but it's also kind of a pain in the bottom as well, just simply because that, you know, sometimes you're just in the zone, and you're just kind of wanting to just grind away. Exhaust manifold V8 overhead valves. Okay, exhaust manifold, let's type that. Exhaust manifold V8 overhead valves, right there. Sometimes you're just in the zone, and you're just wanting to, you know, let the lift down. And all right, so that is done, and let's see if we've got another happy customer that we can send on about their way. $240, but you know, relatively easy job. Finish the order, bada bing, bada boom, everything is good to go. So anyway, we continue to expand. Oh, we just hit level 27. Yay, level 27. So we've got 2 XP points. I'm going to just kind of save XP points right now, because the key is really hitting level 30. That's when we're going to get access to the welder, to the paint shop. We're going to get access to a lot of different things, and we can do all the car restorations and all that kind of stuff. Plus, the good thing by waiting is that we're doing nothing but building up our XP, and we're also building up all important cash, because as soon as we hit level 30, as soon as those other parts of our garage are opened up, then clearly we're going to want to take advantage of the auctions, or the barn finds, or the junkyard finds, or maybe a combination of all three, and start doing some full car restoration. So I've been thinking about how those videos may work themselves out. It looks like somebody dropped a can of drink there, and it got squished. So somebody needs to clean up the shop here. But I've been thinking about how these full restoration videos are going to work. Obviously, a full restoration is going to take much longer than the normal 30 to 45 minutes that I usually sort of like to keep my episodes. For Car Mechanic Simulator, I've actually been trying to keep them at or slightly under 30 minutes, and that kind of keeps the boredom and everything down, I think. But the other thing is with regards to the full car restorations, obviously that's going to take longer time. So I'm kind of thinking that, you know, part 1 of a full restoration will include going to the auction, or going to the junkyard, or going to the barn. Okay, so that's going to be one episode, and including bringing the car back to the garage, pending that we actually find something, of course, bringing the car back to the garage and stripping the car. So that would be like episode part 1. Episode part 2 is the rebuild, part of the rebuild process, either the exterior of the car, you know, including some of the powertrain stuff, and then probably like the third part and conclusion part would be maybe rebuilding the engine, mounting everything, and then either, you know, painting and then selling the car, or moving the car to storage to do something with it at a later date. So probably be like at least 2 or 3 episodes or 3 parts to each of the restorations there that we do. So anyway, I'm going to continue to grind away here. I have spent quite a many hours here in Car Mechanic Simulator 2018 to get to this point. Like I said, I have been sort of picking just sort of easy jobs, muffler jobs, gearbox jobs, and the occasional brake job, even though the brake job is a little more time consuming than the other types. Staying away from the suspension stuff that can just sort of be a little bit of a Pandora's box, and also engine problems, because again, that just takes additional time. Really where I'm wanting to get to is, of course, the unlocking the paint booth, unlocking the welder, so that we can do full 100% car restorations. Anyway, hope you all are enjoying these videos. Please come back again. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like, and also check out my other YouTube friends from the links down below the video. Take care of each other, and God bless you all. Come back again very soon. Bye-bye.